Justin Trudeau is losing it. Way to go, ladies. You elected a gorgeous hunk who is cool. I'm not denying that. He is a cool person. I don't want to do air quotes, but as far as the parameters of cool, you should be handsome, popular. You should know musicians. You should box and be able to ride a skateboard and smoke pot. Sure, those are the parameters. That doesn't mean you're a good prime minister. I wanted Ted Cruz, the nerd, to win. You wouldn't let us have that, so we got you a pit bull that can take on this corrupt and deranged media. And I'm very happy with the choice, by the way. Thank you for forcing us to resort to that, a stick of dynamite. But when you let women vote, they vote for big government, they vote for nice, they vote for handsome, and you end up with an incompetent, spoiled brat, a rich kid who was a drama teacher for a little while. I think he was a supply teacher. The guy has no qualifications, and he's never really suffered. So now that he has to run a country, and as far as landmass goes, it's the second largest in the world, he is melting down. Now, here's the gossip I got from an insider. He said the Secret Service, they don't want to get in trouble, and they don't want the guy to get hurt, so they overdo it, and they say, you need 40 RCMP with you at all times. And you're supposed to say, yeah, no, you work for me. I'm good with one. Barack Obama had balls, I'll give him that, and he would sneak out with Michelle all the time. You just say, no, I'm not doing that. But Justin is so much of a pussy that he just goes, okay, I'm going to stay at home. So and he's lazy, right? So he's not doing his work. So he's sitting there in, I don't know, are they in the Parliament buildings? Is that where they actually live? He's there in the Parliament buildings, we'll say, just staring at his phone, reading Twitter, getting hurt by all the mean tweets. Yes, that's correct. You know when you see someone get mad at the haters and you go, dude, it's little kids. Why do you care about Twitter? It's like Tyler, the Creator, says. Just turn it off. There's no such thing as cyberbullying. Just off. You don't need to read all those. But he's reading them, getting cabin fever, and his spoiled brat wife, who's also never heard the word no, she's getting sick of this. So they're going to get divorced. So she's recently been pictured. Her Facebook page is gone. What does that mean to you? That means that they're both reading these mean messages and getting hurt by them. You're supposed to be the leader of the free world. You're supposed to be prepared for World War. You know how many Canadians died in World War I? That's why the national anthem, as Roaming Millennial points out, says, in all our sons command, because we lost tons of sons in World War II back when we were British. World War I. We lost sons in World War II also. And just so Sophie's had enough. Sophie Grégoire Trudeau. He couldn't even get her to take the name, even though it's the name of our most popular prime minister, Pierre Trudeau. But look how annoying she is. So she wrote a song for babies, her baby, and what's it called again? It's called Smile Back at Me, là. And this song that she wrote for her baby, she thought it would be appropriate to write. Look how ugly the people are in that background. The government doesn't go by aesthetics, only the voters do. So she wrote this song for her baby. I did a Rebel video about this, by the way. And here she is making it about MLK, because black people are like little babies, right? They need coddling, and they need you to sing them sweet lullabies because they're so weak and below you. So here she is, MLK Day, singing a lullaby to black Americans.
That angels can fly.
Thanks for the inspiration.
Some people fight without knowing why.
Nice nostrils.
Some people live.
She is the music.
The light. Some people live. Oh no, but not quite. And I know that good will prevail.
Oh, my God. Isn't that incredible that she sung that to a baby? And then she said, you know what I could do, la? Why don't I do my song that I wrote for the babies, for the blacks? Because, la, they need the inspiration. And in the song there, I talk about how angels will have their wings, la. And then the black peoples, that they can think about the wings and feel less bad about the slavery, la. So more, because I heard this rumor, inside scoop, few days ago, and then I just keep getting all this corroborating evidence. Like Gerald Butts is his name. The way you have to think of Trudeau, by the way, is Jeff Spicoli. Cool, handsome, moron that's popular with the girls. And he has his entourage of, do you have a picture of Gerard Butts? This is him and Trudeau in college where, they would just, there they are, douches now, douches then. So he was like, dude, I'm Prime Minister, man. Oh my God, gnarly. Let's get some tasty waves and a cool buzz. And you can be my political advisor. He hired that guy, that hippie I just showed you. He hired him for $500,000 a year just to be my political advisor. And what does Gerald Butts do? He goes on Twitter because he knows it's freaking out his buddy, and he says, the lesson to take from this joke being torqued by InfoWars and other alt-right Nazi friends of the rebel is they're paying attention. Game on, Team Trudeau. Trying to get people on Twitter to fight back against the trolls because they're really hurting Justin Trudeau's feelings. He is melting down. Way to go, ladies. You elected a weak, handsome brat who can't, he's called the Zoolander Prime Minister for a reason. You elected Blue Steel. Way to go. All right. More proof of this is his mommy, Margaret Trudeau, best known for fornicating with the Rolling Stones right under her husband, Pierre's dad's back. But by the way, his dad was a multicultural diversity monger who ruined the country by enforcing bilingualism and multiculturalism on everyone, coast to coast. I kind of have a cold, and it's making my voice kind of cool. Ben Shapiro, come over to my office. I'm going to make out with you, give you this germ, and you're going to sound like this. Ben Shapiro needs to smoke cigars and drink whiskey because his attitude is this, but his voice is this. I love Ben. I'm not disparaging him, but that voice is something else. Anyway, Margaret Trudeau says she dreads bullying attack ads against Sun. Why does she dread them? Because she's seen how he handles tweets, and it ain't good. Sure, he's his mom and all that, but Margaret Trudeau told CBC Radio's Ottawa Morning Wednesday, that she's dreading that horrible game of politics and the nasty campaign attacks she feels are bound to come Liberal leader Justin Trudeau's way in this year's election. My poor baby, look at him hold her little angel's face. My poor little sweet spoiled brat who is totally unaware of what conflict is and couldn't argue his way out of a wet paper bag. All right. Final example. I know you have this, Dave, but I think I have it on mine too. This is just gold. This is from earlier on in the month. This phenomenon's been going on for a while. And by the way, I remember part of my inside scoop is that his mother was screaming at him, "Get your shit together, boy!" Look, when Pierre and I wanted to go out, they told us we need 40 RCMP. You know what we said? No. We said, we'll go out with 2 or 3 or 1 or none. Stop oppressing us, you Nazis. And she goes, you have to stand up for yourself. You're the prime minister. They don't make the rules. You do. They work for you. And he's like, I know, Mom, but everyone's so mean. Did you see that tweet I sent you? I'm not on Twitter, Justin. So here he is, the incompetent Zoolander prime minister, doing his best to speak English and make a point, which is not possible for him. I guarantee you, by the way, he's not sleeping, and he's taking Xanax or anti-anxiety medicine. I guarantee it.
In those senses, position ourselves just in the center. Try to elevate the debate.
By the way, elevate the debate means stop insulting me because you're hurting my feelings. And it warms the cockles of my heart to know he has probably seen the videos I've done ridiculing him when he was trying to talk to Trump at the World Stupid Summit, or ridiculing his wife for that song. It warms my heart to know that I've hurt his feelings.
Thank you so much.
Wait a minute, go back. This is when he can't find words. This has happened many, many times where he just blanks out.
Thank you so much.
Okay, now, watch closely here. You know when you are drinking, watching TV, and then you get up and you go, whoa, I'm wasted. Same with parties, especially like at the lake. You're sitting on a lawn chair by the lake and you're talking, you think, I'm doing pretty good. And then you get up to go pee and you go, whoa, I'm hammered. Well, I think he just realized that he took it a little too hard with, he got a little heavy with the anti-anxiety medicine. There it is. Whoop, whoa, and try to get back, and okay, and whoa, whoop-a-doo. All righty then.
When I look at Trudeau, there's a couple of things that I see. I see someone who hasn't grown up. I mean, one of the most appalling things about the budget, as far as I was concerned, is that it provides ample evidence, if such was not sufficiently provided already, that Trudeau is exactly what you would be afraid of if you were afraid of him. He doesn't have an answer to a problem that isn't overwhelmingly predictable ideologically. It's like you don't even need him. You just have to run the ideology. It has the answers. What's the big problem? Equity between men and women. It's like, sorry, that's not the big problem. That's not even, you're not even scratching the surface of the problem with that approach. And your solutions, it's like you can learn those solutions your first week in women's studies. They're not solutions. They're the sorts of solutions that children toy with when they have no idea what they're contending with. Yeah, well, there's not a lot there, I'm afraid. Fixing these complex systems is unbelievably complicated, and you're likely to make them worse when you're mucking about with them haphazardly, right? And so it's way easier just to do this. Trudeau said it back in, wasn't it 2016? Why are half the cabinet women? Because it's 2000 and, was it 16 or 15? Yeah. Well, it's almost impossible to overstate how shallow that comment is, and how not only shallow, but it's also casually malevolent in an unconscious sense, because he had a job to do, which was to evaluate his MPs thoroughly and skeptically and pick the best people, period. But that isn't what he did. He said, oh, well, it's 2016, so I'll appoint half women. It's like, well, everybody gave him a pass on that, and so here we are. Now we have a budget that's equity-focused. Yeah, well, good luck with that. When I look at Trudeau, there's a couple of things that I see. I see someone who hasn't grown up. So he's Peter Pan. I see someone he knows how to behave in public. That's one thing you can say about him. He's got that easy charisma and charm that comes from being good-looking, being from a favored background, the favored background that he's from. He's got by on that. And the reason I believe that is because I don't believe that if he had any true character that he would have run, because he ran on the strength of his name, and he hadn't earned the right to do that. But people elected him, so here we are. And this is what we get. I mean, he pulled out the ideological card when he formulated the cabinet, and Canadians all went, oh, isn't that cute? It's like, no, it's not cute. It's not acceptable. And now we're paying the price for it. You know, they'd repaired the relationship. Well, that's the purpose. It's like when I go places now and people come to talk to me, that happens all the time.
I'd like to start with 12 rules. Yeah, you call it an antidote to chaos. It sounds more like you're in that zone where you are somewhere between rule-bound and chaos. You're trying to, as an individual, navigate that path. How can an individual change without falling into chaos?
Well, part of it is that you don't want to bite off more than you can chew. You know, you should try to change something that is difficult, but where you have a moderate probability of succeeding. Or if you're feeling depressed and anxious, a fairly high probability of succeeding. So you have to, it's just as if you're dealing with a child, let's say. When you want to foster the development of a child, you set them a new task so that their skills expand. You don't want it to be so difficult that their probability of failure is overwhelming. There's no utility in that. But you don't want it to be so easy that they can already do it, right? And that it's also partly you don't want it to be so easy because there's no intrinsic joy of mastery in mastering a task that's too easy. So if you calibrate it properly, then you get to have your cake and eat it too, right? Because the skill expands. That's called the zone of proximal development. That was discovered by a Russian psychologist named Vygotsky. He was a very good psychologist. And one of the things he noted was that parents, adults, automatically talk to children at a level that slightly exceeds their current comprehension ability. We do that we don't have to be taught to do that. We do that automatically. And obviously we'd have to do that because otherwise children wouldn't learn how to talk. But you want to have yourself in the zone of proximal development all the time, really. Well, maybe not when you're relaxing, but generally you want to be in a place that you've reasonably well mastered, while at the same time extending your skills. It's optimal because then things are under control and turning out the way you need and want them to, but your ability to master new areas is also growing.